Kanyama. Which is number 13, Muhinacho Hanavi. Which is number 16, Lydia Hexes. Which is number 17, Memory Gonda. Which is number 22, Nancy Lebang. And the coach is Leslie Lucky Kakuva. For Zambia, which is number 16, Hazel Nali. Which is number 3, Lushomo Mwemba. Which is number 6, Mary Wilome. Which is number 7, Annalise Piri. Which is number 8, Margaret Belemu. Which is number 10, Grace Chanda. Which is number 11, Regina Chanda. Which is number 12, Everine Katongo. Which is number 17, Rachel Kundanaji. Which is number 20, Rachel Nachuda. Which is number 23, Blessing Manduba. Substitutions are, which is number 1, Catherine Muswanda. Which is number 5, Pauline Zulu. Which is number 13, Martha Tembo. Which is number 14, Irene Lungu. Which is number 15, Penelope Mulumbwa. Which is number 22, Natasha Nanyangwe. Which is number 24, Maweta Gloria Chilenga. And the coach is Charles Hanubono. Your match officials are: referee is Tatu Nuru Malogo from Tanzania. First assistant referee is Gloria John Tesha from Tanzania. Second assistant referee is Zawadi Hashimu from Tanzania. The fourth official is Anima Samuel Kendo from Tanzania. And the commissioner is Anelsia Munesami from Mauritius.
The women's game takes center stage under the bright skies of Soweto, where football has always had a heartbeat, and history today hums a new rhythm. At the Dobsonville Stadium, a theatre draped in memory and melody, it is Namibia against Zambia. The brave gladiators locking shields with the Copper Queens as the road to the Women's Africa Cup of Nations 2026 begins to narrow. Meet again for the sixth time. 5 previous duels have written nothing conclusive, a single win each, and 3 times they could not be separated. The story between them has remained half told, so here in Dobsonville there is no script, only the promise of fresh ink and the boots of women who dare to write it. And so for both sides, they've arrived in South Africa. They've had 2-3 days to acclimatize, and for Coach Nora, she's gone with the 4-4-2 formation. Hazel Nali, the Escondala girls goalkeeper, keeps her place in goal. Margaret Blemu, Lushomo Mwemba, Blessing Maluba, and Rachel Nachulu are in the back line. Wilombe and Piri occupy the 2 central positions. The Copper Queens. Rachel is also the captain of the side. Kudunanji. They've also got a healthy bench to the Zambians: Catherine Musonda, Pauline Zulu, Martha Tembo, Penelope Natasha, as well as Maweta Chilenga. And that's how the lay of the land looks for Zambia. A hybrid between some players that play in Zambia and some foreign players, but the lineup is mainly Zambian-based players. Similarly with Namibia, then they've only got 1 player that plays outside of Namibia for this team today, Zenata Coleman, who's been playing up front. But other than that, it's a 4-3-3 formation, typical for Coach Leslie Lake Kakuva. He loves himself a 4-3-3 to tightly compact and get most of the points they require here at home. Mulanga and Joseph are in the back 2 positions. Adams is in the center of the midfield. Coleman, Cooper, and Alwindo lead the line for the Brave Gladiators. Nancy Lebang, Memory Ngonga, Helima Kanyama, as well as Julia are in the bench for the Brave Gladiators. And so the road to Morocco has to pass through Soweto first. From the banks of the Zambezi to the dunes of the Namib, the continent watches as 2 teams of spirit and steel come face to face. One chasing revival, the other chasing redemption. Both reaching for something eternal, the right to dance once more on Africa's grandest stage. But before a ball is kicked, let's go down to the national anthems.
And now, the national anthem of Namibia.
The anthems disappear into the Soweto sky. The CAF anthem as well has called them to the event, to the day. Namibia, a nation that last stood among the continent's finest when they hosted the Cup of Nations back in 2014, returned to this stage with memory in their lungs and hunger in their hearts. For them, every pass and every move today is about returning to where they once belonged and proving that the flame that flickered in Windhoek over a decade ago still burns bright. And then there are the Copper Queens from Lusaka's proud soil, carrying the sound of drums and the weight of expectation. 5 tournaments they have graced, 5 journeys of belief and heartbreak, crowned most recently by a quarter-final place in Morocco. They arrive here not as tourists of the moment, but as contenders, a side sculpted by resilience, refined by experience, and driven by the quiet thunder of ambition. Our referee panel is all from Tanzania this afternoon. It's led, of course, by Tato Maloko, as well as Glory John Tesha, Zawadi Yusuf, as well as Amina Kiando. Tanzanian panel of match officials. The sun sits high above Soweto. The flags of 2 nations sway softly in the Johannesburg breeze. The whistle waits, the drums rumble, and as the clock edges towards 3 o'clock, the stage is set for the brave gladiators and the Copper Queens to write their next chapter in their continental tale. No predictions, no guarantees, just football, pure and alive right here in Dobsonville. So there is the Swiss international. Firmly took helm of the Copper Queens earlier this year. She's previously taken charge of the Ghana side, the Israel side, as well as the Swiss under-19 youth team. So here we are in the cradle of Soweto, where dreams echo through concrete and dust. The brave gladiators stand ready, the Copper Queens unbound. The wind carries the scent of history, the drums call for destiny. And as the whistle nears its song, Africa holds its breath. This is the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, and we are live from the Dobsonville Stadium as the Copper Queens kick us off in this 3 o'clock kickoff. They're in their orange regalia. Today are Zambia. Well, Namibia have got their blue. So let's see how the two teams come into this one. They'll want to match each other stride for stride early on here in this game. For Namibia, if it needs any reminding, this is their home game. So they will want to make sure that they take every single point that is available here. They do have it all but assured that when they go to Zambia in a fortnight's time at the Levi Mawansa Stadium. It will be a 40,000 crowd as the first cross comes in there from Chanda. It's Grace once again that looks to get onto the ball. Will be a very important player coming off that front two, herself and Rachel. And then we see the man on the other side of the coin, Leslie Lucky Kakuva. Last year, this man was in charge of the under-19s of Sport Club Windhoek. And now he's at the head coach role for the national women's team. Haven't met one another, these two coaches. Haven't sat at the opposite sides of the dugouts ever before, so this will be a first for them. Katongo. It's one in the midfield by Yvonne Cooper. Cooper again. There's absolutely no telling who can potentially win this one. Out of the 5 meetings that they've played, they've each won 1 and 3 have ended in draws. If you look at the head-to-head between these sides, the very first game was played back in the WAFCON in Namibia. The Brave Gladiators beat the Copper Queens for the very first time by a scoreline of 2-0. That day, if we remember correctly, we had Williams, one of the oldest players in the Namibian colours, as well as Adams on the scorer's sheet. Piri. Destined for the target, but way off the target there. As we see some Zambian supporters here in Dobsonville. We've always got supporters somewhat everywhere in South Africa. Do Zambia. Recall both in the Champions League qualifying for the clubs where Zeskandala were represented, as well as last year in the Under-17 Cup of Nations qualifiers. Lots of Zambian fans that came through and made it feel somewhat like they were in Lusaka. Great ball that now is slowly opening up here. This is Rachel. Can she line it up to the box? Oh, first real opportunity for the Copper Queens. It's going to result in a corner, the first one of the game for Zambia. Let's see how they conjure up this set piece, what they've been working on in training. Of course, their local players have long been in camp. Their foreign-based players only arrived in camp round about last week, Thursday. Here's the dead ball. Still available here. This is Rachel with the turn. Kurananji early on starts to probe and ask the very important questions. Does the Bay FC footballer? Handball in the middle of the park, and it's going to be a Namibian set piece in their own half. Coach was crowned the Under-19 Coach of the Year last year in the MTC Youth League. So for the coach for Namibia, I would have to see how he lines up tactically. But if you were a follower of Namibian development football and watched some of his games closely last year, his favorite formations are a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3, which he's gone for here today. And he likes playing attack-minded football. He's going to need to play attack-minded here. And what a set piece in a potentially dangerous position, and it's the Turkey-based Zenita Coleman that stands to preside over it. An option to go directly for goal here, should she please. So here's Coleman, hits it into the gloves of Hazel Nali. Quickly releases as well, does Zeskondala girls goalkeeper. Grace Chanda, the 28-year-old, playing her 32nd game for Zambia. Sees there's another option on Rachel on that left side. Rachel Nachula, who plays her club football out in Israel. One of two players that aren't locally based for the Zambians in this afternoon starting 11. Back to the goalkeeper, who's under some pressure from Coleman. Recycled to Margaret Spelemu, the Red Arrows footballer. Zambia have participated in 5 previous Women's Africa Cup of Nations competitions. Most recently, where they finished as quarter-finalists in Morocco. They were in a really tough group. Featured the likes of DR Congo, Senegal, as well as the hosts Morocco. Goalkeeper does good work there to come out of a goal. Good anticipating and reading of the game for Hazel Nali. Good work gliding in the midfield is Everine Katongo. One back by Cooper. Now let's see what Namibia can do. They've looked very solid early on here. It looked like they're going to allow the Zambians to exert the dominance that they usually have. In the contrast, the Namibians have only participated in that solitary one Women's Africa Cup of Nations. They only won one game as well. It was against the opposition that they're playing against here in the group stages. They also then would lose 3-1 to the Ivory Coast a couple of days later and 2-0 to Nigeria, finishing that campaign on 3 points. Now it's the ground slowly opening up for Zambia. This is Grace Chanda. It's well intercepted. That's such a good tackle from Amakuto, the Camos Napoli ladies player. Anticipates that so well. Good reading of the game. Going to be played right from built up from the ground up for Namibia. Well, they're under some lots of pressure early on here. Here's Margaret. Piri stays on her feet really well. This is Skondala girls footballer and is able to get the better of a marker. This is Piri. Good work. She's going to win a second corner for the Copper Queens. Zeskondala did really well in the CAF Women's Champions League qualification, which will begin next month. Will that CAF Women's Champions League? It did knock out Mamelodi Sundowns in that campaign. It was eventually won by Gaborone United. As we see delivery to that fast stick, flings at it, does Rachel. And captain of the side, she had 3 goals then in Morocco at the recent Cup of Nations. Of course, they are missing Barbara Banda. She also contributed the other half of the goals of the 6 that Zambia scored. Good sliding tackle from Lovisa Mulunga of Ongos Ladies FC. Couple of Ongos Ladies players in the starting 11 today. Total of about 3. This was Piri. Heavy first touch that looked to be. Good clearance. Coleman fighting for that ball. The Zambians are trying to keep a hold of it. Namibia putting a brave display early on here, like their name suggests. Mary Willombe switches the ball to the left. Mulombe again. Of course, to get to this second round, Namibia had to first go past the first round qualifier where they played Eswatini over 2 legs. The first leg, they were away at the Somhloslo Stadium, Eswatini, where they won 3-0. And then here in Dobsonville, and then wrapped it up with a 1-0 performance to see them through to the second round. Away by Asteria Agula. Oh, there's a big chase down here. Can she get onto it? Goes for the ding. Unfortunately, doesn't quite hit the target. It is Lina Alwendo of Beauties FC. The coach applauds it. Had lots of good things to say about the development league in Namibia. Piri could be on goal. Yeah, this is Piri. Cuts it back. And Zambia have found the first goal in these qualifiers. Textbook stuff from Piri through to Rachel Kudananji. And the Copper Queens are off to a flyer in Johannesburg. Their first goal in the 2026 WAFCON qualifiers. And Rachel scores once again another goal. She had 3 goals at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, did Kudananji. She's got 1 here. Well set up by Piri. Good passing of the ball between the lines. And she's got another one in her bag of goals for the Copper Queens. Their assist will go to Endless Piri. The Zeskondala girls lady sets it up on a silver platter. And it's 1 Zambia, 0 Namibia after just over a dozen minutes of football here in Dobsonville. They're going to need to find a way to come back into this one. And they're building that confidence. They've won a set piece in Zambian half. Have Namibia. See if they can find potentially a way back against the side ranked 65th in the world. As far as the women's game goes, yes, Grace takes it on. That's a really good and strong challenge by Asteria Angula. Now it's Rachel turning defense into attack for the Copper Queens. Looks for the options. Now reinforcements come through. It looked like a hand. She prematurely supposes that the referee is going to blow her whistle. Is Rachel Nachulu. It looked on the eye as if perhaps there was some bit of a case to be made there for the Zambians. But the referee's discretion is the final one, and referee Malogo was in close proximity. Here's that moment once again with a little bit more slowed down. I'm not sure, perhaps out of the box on the line. And her hands are in a natural position, so I guess that's why the referee chooses to look the other way for Namibia. Coleman can perhaps profit here. The assistance flag had long gone up from Glory Tesha. It's going to be ball for the Brave Gladiators. Looking for more goals. It will be an absolutely packed Ndola when Namibia travel to Zambia. expectant of easily 40,000 people. Almost the 3/4 of the capacity of the venue that we're here, at here. Here's Nachulu. One back, this is Coleman. Looks to weave one through to the running jersey number 2. Now Piri served as provider through to Grace. Piri still moving in the regular outlets clearly so far for the Zambians. Grace has gotten through and they've bumped into one another there, but the move carries on going. Drops a shoulder, does Katongo. Grace with the little nutmeg on her way. Surly now again here for Zambia. It may just end up in the net, and it does. Indeed, it does end up in another goal. Rachel Nachulu this time onto the scorer sheet with her chest. Was a similar goal scored by Gyökeres for Arsenal in the Champions League yesterday.
Goal for Zambia.
But the lady that plays the football out in Israel
Namibia 0. Zambia
has found the back of the net here. It's 2 Zambia. Nachula of Hopel, Jerusalem. Always moving up and down that flank, always asking those dangerous questions. But the good work starts on this right side, it must be said. The nutmeg there by Grace Chanda, the Orlando Pride footballer, and then not dealt with sufficiently. It's just too easy for Zambia. They look for the flag. No flag was forthcoming. I haven't even had 20 minutes of football, and it's 2 for the Copper Queens. Of course, the winner of this second round qualifies to the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Very early dates for next year, it must be said. Will be played between March and April. We also haven't had a COSAFA Women's Championship. So an announcement yesterday by COSAFA announcing that it will be held in the very early stages of 2026 to then serve almost as a qualifier for the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. These sides will have a run-in once again early next year in the COSAFA Women's Championship. As we see some Namibian dignitaries, they've been in camp for some time, then have the Namibians, their league, which was won by Beauties FC, finished June. So they tried to get the players together just to get a run in on the legs and gelling once again with one another. But here's some danger once again. This is Rachel, puts down a shoulder. Once again, it's routine. It's like a copy and paste at the moment, a scan for Zambia. Running on the bye, across the face of goal. Just wait for someone waiting on the other side. This time, it's earned them their third corner. No corners so far for the brave gladiators. Here's the 28-year-old with the set piece. Mandamoya almost at the back there. Zambia profits with a fourth. Grace is going to go over to the other side once again. The technical team has largely remained the same. The coach has had to come in and work with. There's a lady that plays her football out in the USA for Orlando Pride. They're currently sitting in third position in the National Women's Super League. Kulananji turns left and turns right. It's still Zambia ball. Interesting to see what the possession is so far, halfway into this first half. Probably slightly favoring the Copper Queens. Alwindo wins it back. It's won back imminently by Zambia. Now Piri fires, tries to rifle one towards the goalkeeper. They've kept them right in their own half. They can't go anywhere at the moment, can the Brave Gladiators. Willombe, brilliant. Skipping of the ball there. This is Rachel. Looks to cut back. Is anyone there? Oh! So close to getting a third, and so close for Regina Chanda. She's still a student, Regina, one of the younger players in the side. She had 10 goals, more than 10 goals at the Eden University Women's Super League. Regina. They've got a mix of that. They've got some of their OGs. They've got some young players. Good ball that by Coleman. Can she run onto it here? Of course, ultimately, the goal is to qualify for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil. That's what she'll have at the foremost of her mind. And that qualification will be determined by the Cup of Nations next year. The top 4 teams from Africa will qualify. If it was this year, Zambia would have fallen just short. As the top 4 teams was Nigeria, Morocco, Ghana, and South Africa. Out the parameters of the field of play, that one is gone. And it's going to be Vereziwa of St. Pauli. Send the ball back into the field. Haven't registered a shot on target yet. Have the Brave Gladiators. Chanda. Belemu. Of course, lots of other second round qualifiers all across the continent. Notably, in terms of the COSAFA teams, there's also Angola taking on Malawi. And later this evening, DR Congo versus South Africa. The DR Congo South Africa second leg, I'm told today, has been changed. The venue from FNB Stadium. It's going to be played right here at Dobsonville in a week's time. So that should be exciting. This ground will see lots of continental football. Just mentioning the Banyana game that's set to be played here in a week's time. Kaizer Chiefs will also play their second round CAF Confederation qualifier against Simba here at this venue on Sunday. I guess you can see the quality of the pitch as well. This is a world-class ground. This is the Turkish-placed club footballer over the set piece. There's lots of power on this. but nothing that's ever going to challenge the quality of Hazel Nali. Piri may get onto this one again. She's into the box. Options for the header comes through. Diving like header from Rachel. Kurananji wants it more. Avers that she was fouled as she was lunging in and going in for the header. A bit of frustrations creep in from Coach Lucky. Formerly played for Chiefs Santos in Namibia. Good Coach Lucky. He knows the Namibian economy, footballing economy so well. This is Coleman. Good looking ball. That is goalkeeper is very good on her feet and even comfortable clearing off her feet. Grace Chanda. Regular outlet, that passing in between the pockets. I'm sure for the coach he's identified that area of common penetration and will look to close up those nuts and bolts and properly tighten up in his halftime talk. In the press conference that he had yesterday, was very optimistic about his team's preparation and their ability to compete toe for toe with the Copper Queens. Margaret. Now it's come to Katongo. Although it sits as a 4-3-3 on paper, the formation by the Brave Gladiators, it looks more in person as if they've gone with the 4-5-1, 4 in the back line, 5 in the midfield. See Coleman regularly coming back to add another option. That's where the Zambians have been asking all the problematic questions. And it's a foul on Regina Chanda. '58 FIFA rankings is the difference between Zambia and Namibia. Zambia are the 4th highest ranked African team as per the FIFA latest rankings. They ranked up at 65 and the Namibians are at 123. The highest ranked African nation is Nigeria at 36. South Africa follow at 54. Good looking cross that is. Oh, the trajectory of that ball was definitely headed to Kurananji. Again, put her contact there. They haven't felt the absence of Barbara Banda, have the Zambians. Coach wasn't too worried about it either when asked about her particular absence from this crucial Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. This is the skipper. Good cross. And an even better save by Melissa Mateus. Katongo with space and time to think in the midfield. Namibians retreating. Piri is able to find a really delicious ball, but just overcooks it. It's a tad bit overcooked. That's Margaret Pelemu. Just can't run onto it. There the Swiss international is. She started her playing days as a defender. Coleman flicks it onto the head of Katongo. Oh, now that pass may have gone wayward. Chance has opened up maybe here for Namibia. And the goalkeeper has proven to have great reaction skills. Half an hour of football is into the soil here. Soweto. Brilliance by Rachel. Salves her marker for dead. And now into the box she goes. It's a great lunging tackle. It had to be good at that point for Asteria Angula. Haven't qualified for the Olympic Games either, have Namibia, and they are prepping a personnel change early on here. It's Ina Ndapewa Katuta that's preparing to make her way on. There she is in your picture. She first played for Comas Napol Ladies and then made the switch for Beauties FC. And I gather this is just to tighten up defensively for Coach Leslie Kakuva. So they'll be replacing Vewe Ziwa Kochipati. She'll be the lady making way in that right back position. Foul on Coleman. It's going to be Brave Gladiators' ball. So there's the confirmation of the substitution from our fourth official, Amina Samuel Kiando.
Substitution for Namibia. Jersey number 2. Vewezima Kachipati out.
Mr. Comas Nampol Ladies player that comes on. So let's see. Is there a goal here? This is Coleman that goes directly for goal. The attempt is commended by Asteria Angula, who's the captain of the side. She's got a very impressive resume, does Zinata Coleman. She's played before at Valencia, she's played at Sevilla as well in the Spanish Women's League. Goalkeeper has been forced to come off and outside of a box a couple of times here. A very high line is being played by Zambia. That's all it's indicative of for us here. Pelemu just to open up her body and glide past is Regina Chanda. There's the lady that's just made her way on to try and reinforce. All the traffic has been down this left-hand side here, and that's where they've added her to come through and add the numbers. His team last year in the MTC Hopsol Youth League came second place, and they also won Team of the Year. Coach Leslie Lucky Kakuva. Ten minutes out from the halftime break at the Dobsonville Stadium. Hope you've enjoyed the watch wherever in the continent you've been tuned into this 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. The return game will take place in 4 days' time on Sunday in Zambia. So a quick return game that will be as Coleman It's bamboozled to the ground. Good recycling of the ball and alertness to find the goalkeeper once again, and clears that out to alleviate a tad bit of pressure. Players stay down. Has Everine Katongo. As the medical crew comes on to give her the due diligent attention. And if you joined our coverage late, these are the two moments, the two difference so far. And it's Piri setting up Rachel Kudanji for her fifth goal this year for Zambia. She had 3 at the Cup of Nations. She had a goal as well against Malawi in a friendly earlier this year. And this is number 5 in those colors. And that's been where all the passes have been coming through, the defense splitting passes. And there's a good time, absolutely no problem. And that's the philosophy that the Copper Queens have been playing with so far. See whether can be more of a fight put here by the brave Gladiators. Played most of their games in South Africa, most of their home games, matter of fact, played in South Africa. I recall in their previous WAFCON qualification campaign, they were playing those games out at the Lucas Masterpieces Moripe Stadium. But they played their game against Eswatini earlier in February, right here at Dobsonville. Starting to feel like home, this place. Nachula. Good ball. Even better touch. Can it be laid off? Yeah! Just wide of the target by Kundananji. And she's been the thorn in the roses. She's been the headache so far. She's got in a really expensive resume. Started playing her football in Zambia. Now she applies her trade in the US. It's a popular destination for women's football, especially for our African teams, your Mexicos, USA, Turkey as well. And I guess the US system works because it also offers the university structure. So for some of the younger players, they can participate in that. But lots of these ladies applying their club trades there. Set piece for the Gladiators. I really enjoyed the coach's pre-conference. He says, it's in the name, they brave Gladiators, and that's how they want to play. Coleman, good looking ball. Can it get a touch? It kept inside the field of play. In Vanity. So Zambia looking to qualify for WAFCON number 6. Their best result at a Women's Africa Cup of Nations came back in 2022 when they finished in 3rd place. In the quarterfinals this year was also one of their highest finishing. It was the second time ever that they qualified for the quarterfinals since 1995. She's done a good job this afternoon, commanding her back line, making sure that nothing untoward happens at the back for the Copper Queens. Coleman alternates and shares the ball to Amakuto. It's well accepted onto the chest of Blessing Maluba. Now Grace Chanda picks up the volume for Zambia. Piri retreating. Namibia trying to find their places defensively while Zambia just share the leather among themselves. This is Mary Wolombe. This possession spell is really commended and enjoyed by the fans here. Rachel could get a second. Yeah! It's just wide for Kundananji. She must have attempted the target about 5 times now. She also had a spell playing at Madrid Club de Football Femenino. She's played all over Europe, now in the North American region. So we're slowly reaching towards half time. Not many stoppages in this first half. It's been a largely clean game of football, and I don't anticipate that the referee will add too much stoppages towards the end of this one. As I say, no stoppages. A stoppage comes through here for Namibian player. Although the physicality of the Zambians is definitely a prevalent force, I think in terms of that aspect, the Brave Gladiators have been able to match them in that regard. This is Yvonne Cooper, the lady who had the goal the last time that she was here in Dobsonville, scored in a 1-0 against Eswatini. She's not feeling okay. A bit of a limp as well as she makes her way off. I wonder if she'll be able to continue. But I see the referee's electronic board. Looks like we're going to have 120 seconds of added time here towards the end, 2 minutes. Oh, it's Kisfizzle all the way through. Yeah, can they get beyond the goalkeeper? Oh, she's been so good today. She has been absolutely essential. Has Hazel Nali, the Zeskondala Girls goalkeeper. Piri. Zeskondala did bow out of the CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers in the final against Gaborone United. Handball adjudicated by the referee on Lena Alwindo. She played as well in those CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers for Beauties. They were in a tough group, were Beauties, pitted against Mamelodi Sundowns, Zeskandala. It was going to be a tough one. They did win their first game against Ntopwa at the UJAW Muller campus a couple of months ago now. So the referee's electronic board, the fourth official's electronic board comes up confirming the additional 2 minutes towards the end of the 45 here. And another stoppage, this time for a Zambian player. Hot out there for the players. And this is the closest it's come then for the Brave Gladiators, but the goalkeeper just anticipates it so well, does Hazel Nali. She's kept well in this first half. They'll be happy with how they've fared. Of course, their under-17s are currently in under-17 FIFA World Cup action. They've also been nominated for CAF Women's Team of the Year. And we heard the coach yesterday in the pre-match when she said she would have loved to have some of those under-17s at her disposal here for this qualifier. The likes of Mercy Chipasula, who really lit up the CAF Under-17 Women's Championship last year. And now here's another moment for the Brave Gladiators. This is Coleman, tries to put it across for one more pass. Perhaps trying it off the weaker left foot would have been a tad bit of a better option. And that's what the coach perhaps is making the point to say there. Go for goal. A little bit more creative, more inventive. We're entering into the final seconds of this first half here. Last bit of movements. And that is that in terms of the first stanza here at the Dobsonville Stadium in this 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifier between Namibia and Zambia. And so far, it's been a Rachel party for the Zambians. Rachel Kurananji opening up the scoring inside 20 minutes, and Rachel Nachula goes on to extend to their lead. And that is how we find ourselves at this halfway in juncture. Namibia have had their moments. They've had to do lots of defending. They'll need to come back a better team after the halftime break. And here is goal number 1. Piri setting up Rachel. And that got the party started in Dobsonville for the Copper Queens. The second goal came through almost similar methodology. That time on the end of it was Rachel Nachula. But that is that. That is the first half into the books. Stay with us here on COSAFA YouTube, whether you're watching on COSAFA's YouTube channel, whether you're streaming on Namibia's page. We hope you've enjoyed the proceedings so far. And here's that goal number 2. Chanda with a cheeky little nutmeg there to put it across. And the easiest finish for Rachel Nachula. Rachel times 2. And it has been a wonderful display indeed by the Copper Queens. So stay with us here. The second half is up next. But after 45 minutes, it's 2 Zambia, 0 Namibia. Welcome back, everybody, to the Dobsonville Stadium for this 2026 WAFCON qualifier between Namibia and Zambia. If you're just joining our coverage now, it is 2-0 Zambia, the Copper Queens, with a very dominant first half performance. And now they have 45 minutes to emulate what they did in the first 45. Chanda early on tries to get through there. So the first two goals coming from Rachel Kundananji as well as Rachel Machula. And I wonder what he said to his team in the halftime team talk. It probably would have went something around bravery and coming through in the second half and playing with more of that, which they've definitely got. We saw glimpses and promise of their footballing potential in that game against Eswatini earlier in February. No changes, no team news to report on after the halftime break, so the two teams have remained largely as they began, although there was one change with Katuta coming on for Namibia towards the latter stages of the first half. And now they are indeed playing with a little bit more freedom, a little bit more bravery. It's cleared away that by Lushomo, the 24-year-old. Coleman tried to flick it on. It falls at the feet of Margaret. Can she keep it in play? Yes, she does. Katongo. Tries to play a pass to the right where no one was for Namibia. Here's Grace. Insightful looking ball. Rising up the highest is Willombe. Now once again back to the Orlando Pride footballer. She played before at Zeska United and at Red Arrows before she went to the USA. 28-year-old. This is the 32nd game in the orange of Zambia. I was telling you before the halftime break that the under-17s are indeed in action in the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. You can catch their game. They've got a game at 6 o'clock today against Japan. Do the Under-17 Zambia girls. Here's Rachel. Such a problem in that first half. Adjudicated to be in an offside role. They did, of course, lose their first game to Paraguay by 2-1. But I imagine those girls will get so much better. Of course, that under-17 team nominated for one of the awards at the upcoming CAF awards ceremony. Under-17 ladies. They've also got Barbara Banda as well as Rachel Kurananji nominated for Women's Player of the Year. So we'll see how those awards end up going and who ends up taking the big prizes there. But they are nominated alongside some really proper competition. Rachel and Barbara. Alongside some of the nominees for that Player of the Year award, you've got some Moroccan players. Nigeria have got a couple of representatives. So it will be really keen to see where those awards end up. Yellow card, the first one of the game. And it's issued to the captain for Namibia. It's Lovisa Mulunga of Ongos Ladies FC. The first card to be issued here. So she is playing in one of those centre-back roles. We'll need to be really careful about how she conjures up the rest of the game. And just lunging into the challenge there, always going to yield a yellow card, going in with 2 feet as well. It looks like Mary Walombe subsequently stayed down. She hasn't come back on her feet since. Now she slowly rises back to her feet, is Mary. So the ball runs again, and it runs for Zambia. Zambia also have Mercy Chipasula nominated for Young Player of the Year. Can't wait to see what she can do later on today against Japan at 6. Can catch that game on FIFA Plus. As Coleman turning, twisting. Now it's slowly opening up. Can they pull the trigger? Yes, it's a goal for Namibia. Oh, real beauty by Cooper. Another goal in these qualifiers, her second so far. They've huffed, they've puffed. The house has come tumbling down. Coach Nora watches from the stands for now. We'll have to confirm for you why exactly she's on the stands. She was on the sideline in the first half. But that's exactly the type of response that he would have told these girls to come back with. 2-1. And suddenly the plot thickens here in Dobsonville. Rachel taking no prisoners. Leaves Mulanga right on the floor. Calls of a penalty again from Zambia. And the second call falls on deaf ears. It's been really interesting to see the advancements being made in world football with the calls that teams aren't satisfied with. We saw it at the Under-20 Men's World Cup, where you get 2 petitions where you can call on the referee to go and check and scrutinize it for a second time. We'll see perhaps those developments starting to be injected more and more into an African context as well for some of our major competitions. A Swiss international who spent 10 months at the helm now has also had a Women's Africa Cup of Nations under her belt. But here it is once again, and the whole of Windhoek would have celebrated this one. A real proper effort for Hazel Nali, who's had such a good game so far. She won't be able to keep a clean sheet here today. And look at the raw passion and emotion from the brave gladiators. Like I mentioned, the head-to-head between these sides is relatively very close. Right at the top of the show. Told you that this is their 6th meeting. And Zambia have only beaten Namibia once. Namibia have only beaten Zambia once. The Namibia victory came in their very first game at the 2014 Cup of Nations, where they won 2-0. The first Zambia success would come in first round qualifiers in 2022 for the Cup of Nations. This is Chanda. Rachel. Options lining up in the box. She goes for goal herself. The flag rises. There was an offside, and the referee adjudicates so as well. It's been involved in a couple of African competitions, has referee Malogo. Some Champions League games, some Cup of Nation games. And we well familiar with her officiating in the Kosafa region. So how these qualifiers work is that the winner of the second round has a ticket to has a direct ticket to the Cup of Nations. The Cup of Nations will start in Morocco on the 17th of April until the 3rd of June, 17th of March rather, until the 3rd of April. So 5 months and counting. The first 10 minutes here of the second half have been the exact type of comeback that Namibia would have wanted, but they're under some pressure now here. She needs to get back and win that ball back. Here's Katongo. She does so successfully. It's on that right now with Margaret. Good ball! John down. The second attempt hits the bar. Denied by the uprights. This is Rachel Nachula. And that was a big moment once again. The diagonal ball proving to be such a threat for the Zambians, who are preparing 2 changes to come on. Natasha Nanyangwe and Penelope Mulumbwa are the 2 ladies preparing to make their way on. Katongo's also played such a good role in the midfield, has the 22-year-old. So here's the goal scorer, Cooper. Tries to lay one off to Alwindo. Oh, penalty has been granted here for Namibia. They've been given a lifeline back into this game. Oh, and the drama really does go on in the plot. Super thick now. This wouldn't have been in the Copper Queen script. And I wonder how much their coach being in the stands is impacting down there on the pitch. Here's the replay. Absolutely. The lady that scored the second goal, Rachel Nachula, now is the one to have the foul for the penalty. Now the changes will be made as well for Zambia. It's that 18-year-old, or it's a 23-year-old I was telling you about, Katonga, one of the players to make way, as well as jersey number 11, Regina Chanda. Didn't really come into the game, did Chanda? But now the game is alive. Now the excitement is fever pitch. And there's no other player that's going to pick up that ball other than Zinata Coleman. Oh, now this is how to come back after being down 2 goals. He's got the script here. She needs to write it. It's Coleman. Slowly approaching half a century appearances for Namibia. Steps up. Oh, she buries it beyond reasonable doubts. And we are even Steven. Back. Level pegging. They've done it from behind, have the brave gladiators. And this is why they are brave gladiators. Back on terms. This is their home game, but remember, there is the away goal rule, there is the away goal caveats in African competitions that still exist. So as the tide sits now, Zambia still have got the advantage, but the momentum slightly shifting. All she said with that penalty is, if you're going to try to save this, your hands are going to sting. She made sure to put it close to that roof of that net. And now we've got a game on our hands. 2-2. Foul for Namibia. The momentum fully with them in this second half. How different 2 halves of football can look. Coleman on presiding set piece duty. This is game number 49 for her in Brave Gladiator colours. They did play to a 2-2 draw before, these two teams. It was the very second game between them in 2016 for the Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifiers. They met in the first round, and that game was 2-2. So, as fate would have it, this one also sits so nicely poised, as Asteria Angula is going to need some attention here. Who plays for Julino Athletic Ladies. Well, she's down as we see the Zambian supporters a little bit bamboozled by the momentum that Namibia have come back with, the motivation. It's definitely a foul there. Goes in really tough on the back, does replacement Penelope Mulumba. So Namibian fans online have advocated for to be played in their home so that they could have more of that crowd energizing them. As many people tuned into the broadcast, but it would make such a difference if those 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 people watching could be here at the venue and spurring this team on. Coleman, there's a foul on the back of Kundananji. It's another lady that plays in Turkey that's going to take it. Lushomo Mwembu, also a popular destination, Turkey, for the ladies' game. This is Rachel. Still on her feet. Kundananji. Corner for Zambia. Corner number 5. Here's the 5th corner, and it looks like it's going to be an in-swinger. Right to the back post it goes to Mwemba. Clipped is Mwemba, and it's going to be a set piece for Zambia. In a precarious position here for Namibia. Need to organize themselves defensively, which was certainly large parts of the first half wasn't as defensively sound as it could have been. Five ladies in the box. Women on women marking for Namibia. And here comes the dead ball. Goalkeeper gets a glove, a necessary glove. And Mwemba can't get it at her feet. This is Mary. Chanda. Good block, and she celebrates it as if she scored a goal. They are absolutely motivated now, the brave gladiators. Looking for their second ever appearance at a Cup of Nations. They'll know that the job is not even halfway done yet. Still have just scratched the surface. Rachel! It's a commendable shot. That's goal for her in the first half. Having the foul and the penalty in the second, she's definitely been very much involved in the proceedings this afternoon. So the 11 winners from the second round will qualify for the Cup of Nations, but CAF have said that next year there will be 16 places available. So what it then means is that they are yet to determine how the additional 4 or 5 teams are going to qualify. We'll have to see as to what routes potentially there is there. But I guess the point that I'm making is for any of the losers in this round, it's not all doom and gloom yet. Goes down, does central midfielder Tomalina Adams. Adams has really been involved with the side for some time. I'll give you an interesting fact. In that game that they won against Zambia in 2014, she was one of the players on the score sheet. Adams, as well as Williams, the Beauties FC veteran. Slowly making her way back up on her feet. Playing in that 6 role, been very busy, lots of traffic in that central defensive midfield position. It's one up the field of play by Alwindo. And Alwindo is able to cut it back here. There's some momentum building with this attack. No one there in the midfield. Kurananji takes it on by herself. Good looking ball. That's for Grace. Penelope. Now Piri, who's been quiet in the second half. Can she get some decent service to the box here? Piri! Oh! It's offside. It won't count. Oh, but that combination is so lethal. It won't count. The flag was long up. We'll see the replay as to whether the referee's assistant has got it right. She seemed pretty sure. Zawadi Yusuf. Looking for goal number 2. She's hungry today. Barbara Panda is, of course, injured. For those still wondering why no Panda. Mweba. Here's the replay once again of the offside. Looks like she just moved a little bit early. Good ball by Piri. Nothing wrong with the ball. Nothing wrong with the move. Nothing wrong at all. We've got 22 minutes to go here. Another change being prepared. And this time it's Nancy Boipelo Libang. Nancy did play for Beauties in the COSAFA Women's Champions League qualifiers after they won the Women's League. Of course, the leagues will return this week in Namibia. The Men's Pro League, the National Football First Division returns on Friday after a long stoppage. So some very excited fans in Windhoek and the rest of Namibia for the return of domestic action. These girls will also be preparing respectively with their clubs for their return to domestic football. And what a treat would it be after this FIFA break for them to have qualified for their second Cup of Nations. So the first player to be replaced is Tomalina Adams at the base of that midfield. And the other player is Lina Alwindo, who was so influential in winning the set piece. And she is replaced by Hanavi. Hanavi, who plays football out at the University of Namibia, UNAM. Interestingly, the only university in Namibia that offers studying towards a legal qualification. Here's work down this right for Namibia. It lands for Kudananje! Completes her brace in superb fashion. Zambia back into the lead. Goal number 6 this year in Zambian colors. On course for a hat-trick. Well, the Copper Queens weren't deterred by the fight back. They made sure to stick to their cause, to play the football that they know, and this time she won't be denied by the offside flag. Moments ago, she had put the ball into the net, but being halted by the flag. No flag this time. Coleman wants to catch the goalkeeper off. And she quickly made sure to get back into her position. So we've got 20 minutes to go. The Copper Queens slightly in the lead. A 5-goal thriller in Dobsonville. A 5-goal thriller. Goalkeeper needs to do good work there. She made sure to do just that. This is the first time ever that 5 goals have been scored between these sides. It could be more. Oh my word! How did she miss that? It should be 3-3. A golden opportunity, a glorious opportunity for the lady that's come on. Hanavi, and it's her first touch. Perhaps you can't fault her because of that reason. And there could be another moment here for Namibia. Hanavi. High press here. Coleman pressing Cooper there as well. Piri with a decent enough first touch to keep it in her stride. Now the Copper Queens are going to try to play out with it. Grace Chanda. Kudananje. This is Penelope. Can she pull the trigger? She does. The goalkeeper's well positioned. And there's a little bit of a physical contact there between the goalkeeper, Melissa Matthews, and Rachel. I think it's the elbow. So much power on that to put the Copper Queens into the lead once again. The Bay FC footballer just can't put a price tag on experience and quality and everything that she comes with to this Zambian side. So like I said, the next leg, the second leg of this two-legged WAFCON qualifier will be played in 4 days' time. The top goal scorers so far in these qualifiers have got 3 goals. You've got Array Papel Ogusia Diarra from Guinea. Karchoni from Algeria. So it means that Kudananji with a third goal here could be right up there with the top goal scorers. Here's another roll of the dice for Zambia. And what is it? It is Martha Tembo for Nachula. So a like-for-like substitution. More qualifiers taking place today as we move further up the equator. We've got Tanzania and Ethiopia, DR Congo and South Africa, like I've mentioned to you already. Tomorrow, Angola do battle with Malawi. And on Friday, Burkina Faso, Togo. There's also the Algeria and Cameroon qualifier tomorrow. So, on about the end of next week, we'll have all our participants confirmed for WAFCON 2026. Nigeria will look to defend their title. Nali was so good in that first half. There's nothing she can do about the goals here today in the second. Probably would have wanted the clean sheets. But what they'll be more happy with, the Zambians, is the 3 away goals. And I'm sure they'll be looking for exactly more. Kundananji. Chanda. Looks for options. Sees that Piri's all the way on that right side. Piri may just get onto it here. Not before Margaret. Penelope the target. Cuts it back with the head. And they can come away with it, can the Brave Gladiators. Now through Coleman. Good link-up play. Doesn't quite able to find the feet of her jersey, number 22. Nancy. This is Piri. Gets the ball tangled between her feet. Can't do anything with it there. Coleman. Oh, slick. Leaves a marker for dead. As silky as bedroom sheets is Kundananji. Now playing and gravitating towards that right side of the pitch. It's won back by the Copper Queens, and it's going to be an audacious attempt here. Oh, it looked so good. She winded, and when she saw that the ground was opening up, why not? The shot there from the replacement, Natasha Nanyangwe. Zambia have only participated in one FIFA World Cup. That was the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand in 2023, after they came third at the 22 Cup of Nations. So they'll be looking for their second appearance at the world stage in Rio de Janeiro in 2 years' time. That's the planning. That's the planning that Coach Nora has. He also wants to see himself there. Now, after 79 minutes, we see the first corner for Namibia. Coleman on top of it. Yes, this Coleman! Oh, that was dangerous. That had a very, very dangerous spin to it. It just needed a touch. To be honest, it just needed one touch. That's all it could have taken. We've got just above 10 minutes of regulated time to go here in Soweto, Johannesburg. Oh, That's so close. It's such a good ball. But the Copper Queens are attacking once again. And it's very good defending. That's more changes being prepared by Coach Leslie Lucky Kakuva. Jersey 17, Memory Ngonda, who the fans have been calling for Ongos ladies. One of the changes being prepared, as well as Jersey 12, Hilma Kanyama. Ten to go. Piri looked for Penelope. Hoofs it into the air once again. Mulanga scuffs her clearance, and it may just open up once again here for the Queens. Piri sets up the first goal, may set up the fourth here. Good touch at the near post. Really good touch at the near post. So here are the changes then. Jersey 12, Hilma Ganyama, who spent some time at African Stars Queens and then went over to Beauties FC, is one of the players to come on, as well as Memory Ngonda of Ongos Ladies. Is there another throw of the dice? Is there a card up Coach Leslie Lucky Kakuva's sleeve? He said he would come here to compete. No one can fault him for that. He's definitely competed against the Zambians. Can he go a step further? Can he win? Can he get a point here? Go and fight in Dola in 4 days' time. He's a man that believes in attacking football. Wouldn't be a bad of a time to call on that attacking philosophy roundabout now. But it's an exciting time to be involved in Zambians women's football, considering how well the development team is doing. You think of their senior team, and eventually when Coach has got the full complement of players at her disposal, you can only imagine how the future, the next 5 years, looks for the Zambians. I guess with the introduction of the annual Under-17 World Cup, it also goes a really long way in preparing the next generation. Piri. Back at her feet. Benefits from the second ball. Chanda. They try to keep onside. She is onside and tries to lay it off for Penelope. The bench almost on their feet again. They thought they should have found the back of the net. Of course, the Under-17 Zambians are drawn in a group alongside New Zealand, Paraguay, as well as Japan. Still 2 games to go, one against New Zealand, the other against Paraguay. Our other African representatives, only 3 at Under-17 level. We've got Nigeria, 4 rather, in addition to the hosts, Nigeria, Cameroon, as well as Morocco. I recall watching Mercy Chipasula score 6 goals in the final of the Under-17 COSAFA Championship last year against Lesotho. They were crowned champions. They even won the Under-20, or rather the Women's Championship last year against South Africa in Port Elizabeth. Zambia ball with just over half a dozen of minutes remaining. Hope you have enjoyed the watch on Kosafa YouTube. It has definitely been an entertaining battle this between these two Kosafa giants. And if you've been tuned into the Namibia Football Association stream, hope you've enjoyed it. You can definitely have something to be proud of if you're on the Brave Gladiators side of things, because they've come here and they've been exactly that. They've been brave. Has it been brave enough? Tembo back onto it again on that left back position, interchanging the ball with Mwamba. Zambia set piece. They've stumbled at this stage a couple of times, have Namibia. The qualification round for the Cup of Nations. And are yet to qualify out of their own efforts, and not by virtue of being hosts of the tournament like they were back in 2014. Chanda just overplayed that, and to have some fun with it now towards this left here to Zambia. Tembo wins it back for the Copper Queens. Margaret on the back of the replacement for Namibia, Nancy. One back by Grace. Triangular football, playing it right from the back. Good possessional play. That's by Zambia, and it's a foul. It's going to be a second yellow card here issued in the game. Second recipient will be Asteria Angula. The first yellow in the first half went to Lovisa Mulunga. The Trilino Atletico ladies footballer. So the added time towards the end here will be a total of 4 minutes. So we've got about 6 to go, roughly. And it's going to be a 6th Zambian corner. There's been some commendable sights from a Namibia perspective this afternoon. At times, such great 1-2 play. Had to defend for large parts of the afternoon, which they've done. And they'll expect many more of those fans in Dola in 4 days' time. So here's the set piece. The last thing they'll want to do is concede another goal now. The next goal they'll think needs to belong to them if there is still to be any more goal mouth action. Piri. And the flag rises. It's an exciting time as well to be involved in Namibian development football, Namibian women's football. with the development landscape growing and becoming so stronger in Namibia as well.
Additional time, 4 minutes.
So the fourth official, Amina Sakwele Kiando, confirms the additional 4 minutes to be added here at the end. And it's the Orlando Pride, Grace Chanda, that's receiving some attention. She had 3 appearances back in youth Zambian colors. Zambia are preparing one more substitution, and it's Maweta Glory Chilenga of Red Arrows Girls. There she is. One of the youngest players in the team, in fact, the youngest player in the Zambia team. As we see the differential moments between these two Southern African women's sides. And a player that's really, really red hot at the moment. This was the big opportunity whereby they could have equalized immediately after the goal, and unfortunately Hanavi not able to direct her shot goalwards. So we're already into a minute and a half of the 4 stoppage minutes. I'm sure the ref will account for that minute and a bit within the stoppage time.
Don't need to panic.
I was making the point to you about the strides and the growth that have been made even in Namibian developments football, development girls football. They would usually take lots of talent from their school system, but that is becoming in and of itself much more established, more stabilized, so there's a steady inject of talent. I'll tell you about that now. This is another attack, Penelope! Oh, maybe here another goal. The referee long had her flag up. Once again, Zambia denied by Zwandi Yusuf's flag. We've played some really good football here. You see it once again there. I think she's got that one correct too. Any of the decisions today have been spot on. I think for too much for the teams to complain about in that regard. We're into the final 60 seconds here of this first leg. Qualifiers. She'll be happy with the 3 away goals. Could be more here. This is Rachel. Goes past the goalkeeper, and the hat-trick is indeed hers. She will take the match ball back to Lusaka, and they will take the 4 away goals back to Ndola. Joint top goal scorer in the qualifiers. No Barbara Panda, no problem, says Kundananji. That's her match ball, she knows it. And definitely a performance that she can savor. A first hat-trick this year for her in her national team colours. And they'll be very happy with how they've fared. The Bay FC, lady that does her football in America, has got the crowd dancing. And that is that in terms of the first round. The first leg in the second round of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers between Namibia and Zambia. It ends in success for the Copper Queens. 2 goals in the first half, 2 goals in the second half, 4-2 overall. A very brave performance by the brave gladiators who did not give up one bit, especially in the first 10 minutes of the second half. They came off firing, but too much quality within the Zambian team. Too much quality within Rachel Kudananji. And they march on to the second leg with 4 goals away from home, with a 2-goal buffer and an expectant crowd at the Levi Mwanwasa Stadium on the 26th of October. Namibia, it's back to the drawing board. It's figuring out a way of the maze. It's back to figuring out how they break the Copper Queen. Broadcasting it live across the continent. We absolutely cannot wait for round 2 on the 26th of September. But until such a time, it's the Copper Queens that smile. It's the Copper Queens that march on to their 6th Women's Africa Cup of Nations, and hopefully want to take it a step beyond the quarterfinal in Morocco this year, because that's full time. Then the confirmation of the scoreline for you is Zambia 4, Namibia 2.